Hello beautiful people and welcome. In today's video we are going to be talking about a topic I titled culture shock. Culture shock. Culture shock refers to a feeling of disorientation or confusion that normally occurs when a person leaves a familiar environment and moves to an unfamiliar environment. It arises from differences in social norms, values and daily lives and can affect someone who has just moved in a new environment, whether for a holiday or to live or to work. Recently, the Pope of the Catholic Church was invited to a mosque by an imam, and he honored that invitation, and this got people's attention, including that of the news reporters. When he got to the mosque, he removed his shoes like the Muslims do, and this got news reporters watching and recording to know what he's going to do next. He got into the mosque and stayed with them, but when it was time for them to pray, they invited him to join them, but he politely refused. He just stood in a corner and watched them pray. He painted a picture that even though we both have different beliefs, that doesn't mean we should be enemies. I can associate with you and you can associate with me. The new generation pastors we have today are teaching people to completely disconnect themselves with every other person around them. Once they are not Christians, they should have nothing to do with them. They have even created their own society within the church where they do their own things together, regardless of your village or town, excluding the outside world, because to them they are unbelievers. But we know that Jesus Christ never discriminated or withdrew himself from associating with everyone, including the sinners, because he knew that it was through his association with them that they can be able to change. Isaiah 60 verse 3 says, "And Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of your rising." The actions of the Pope kind of draws our attention to what happened in Daniel chapter 1. When Israel was conquered, King Nebuchadnezzar ordered that young men without physical defects, handsome, showing aptitude in every kind of learning, well informed, quick to understand and qualified in serving the king's palace. He was to teach them the language and the literature of the Babylonians. It was there that Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego came into the picture. They were chosen and they started working for the king. In every matter of wisdom and understanding about which the king questioned, he found them 10 times better than other magicians and enchanters which were in the whole kingdom, to the point that the king had a dream and he requested that they first tell him his dream before they can interpret it for him. No one else was able to tell the king his dream, let alone interpret it for him, except Daniel, for he prayed all night and the Lord revealed the dream to him. So this made the people envious of them. So they conspired on how to eliminate them. With their influence, the king built a 60 cubit high golden image of himself and 6 cubits wide, and set it up in the province of Babylon, and summoned everyone that lived within Babylon. When everyone gathered, then the announcement came. Nations and people of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the musical instruments, fall down and worship the image of the king. Whoever that does not bow down and worship the image of the king will immediately be thrown into the blazing furnace. As soon as they heard the sound of the music, everyone bowed down and worshipped the image of King Nebuchadnezzar, except Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The king ordered them to bow, giving them another chance, but they replied, "We do not need to defend ourselves before you on this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and deliver us from his majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your God or worship the image of gold you have set up. The king became very furious, and he ordered that the heat of the fire should be increased 7 times more, and that they should be thrown into the fire. The fire was so hot that even the guards that threw them into the fire died as a result of the heat. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were not burnt, because the Lord sent an angel to dwell amongst them. At the end, the king saw that their God was indeed the greatest. Now, notice that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego never rejected working with the king, even though they knew that they were not worshiping the same God. They still gave their best while in the king's service. But where they drew the line, was where it came to a point of worshiping their God. No matter the environment you find yourself as a Christian, you are not expected to discriminate or condemn people because they are different from you. Even in your present location, your identity as a Christian should not make you to completely discriminate or withdraw from other people because you believe that they are sinners. But there is a place where we draw the line, and that is where most Christians miss it. There is a limit to which your freedom of association should end. So, my dear, my question to you today is that as a Christian, where do you draw the line in your own village as it pertains your culture and your tradition? In your village, you have the perfect idea of everything as it pertains your culture and your tradition. So where do you draw the line, let alone when you find yourself in an unknown environment? A place where you have absolutely no idea about their own culture and tradition. Yes, you say you are a Christian, but are you also getting involved in the rituals that are involved in your culture? You are not expected to completely remove or withdraw yourself from the cultural activities that happen in your village, your town, your society, because culture is the people's way of life. However, whichever cultural activity that necessitates you to bow down to a deity is no longer culture but idol worship. So you should be able to identify the difference between the way of life of the people and when it becomes idol worshiping. Your ability to distinguish between the two in a known environment like your village will give you the same wisdom as to what to do when you find yourself in an unknown environment. It takes a personal conviction for one to be able to make a decision such as this, especially in a world today where people are pressured and influenced into following the crowd. It takes your strong knowledge of who you believe in, not just because you identify as a Christian, but because you have had a personal encounter with him. For you to be strong in your faith, know this: in any environment you find yourself, your actions towards others is what preaches the faith first before the words. So in whichever environment you find yourself, always preach love, always exhibit love, but know your limits. If you made it to the end of this video, kindly like, share and subscribe for more videos. Thank you so much for watching and have a blessed day. Bye.